Deion Sanders slams furniture to wake up Colorado locker room. Admitting all else has failed. Deion Sanders looked exhausted when he stepped in front of the cameras following Colorado's 29-22 loss to West Virginia on Saturday. It was a defeat that officially clinched a losing season for the Buffaloes at 3-7. This was the third straight for Colorado, expanding a brutal stretch where they'd been outscored 134-46 over their last three games after previous blowouts to Utah 53-7 and Arizona 52-17. Sanders, who usually carries himself with unshakable confidence, looked genuinely broken as he tried to explain what's gone wrong with a program that went 9-4 just last season and had given Boulder hope for the first time in years. We collectively got to do a much better job, and that starts with me. I got to do a much better job, Sanders said, his frustration bubbling over. You think I'm happy right now? You think I'm elated? You think this is what I want for these young men, for this university? We're so much better than what we're doing right now. Then came the moment that crystallized everything. Deion Sanders slammed his hand on the table 3 times, emphasizing each word as he delivered his plea to his locker room. If I could put my finger on one thing, you gotta want to stay, man, he said, pounding the table with each word for emphasis. You gotta have a locker room full of kids that really want this thing a lot more than they want certain things that they enjoy. We've done everything today to try to flip it. The loss itself told the story of a team that's lost its way. True freshman quarterback Julian Lewis completed 22 of 35 passes for 299 yards and 2 touchdowns without an interception. It was a stat line that should have been good enough to win. However, Colorado was outgained 357-350 in total yards, managed only 51 rushing yards, and was sacked 7 times by a West Virginia defense that dominated the trenches. The Mountaineers' Curtis Jones Jr. scored 2 short rushing touchdowns in his first career carries, including the back-breaking 4-yard score with 4:15 left that put the game away. Colorado's offense totaled 350 yards, but couldn't convert when it mattered, settling for field goals and watching drives stall in West Virginia territory. Sanders' comments about players wanting to stay felt like a thinly veiled shot at guys who might be mentally checked out or already thinking about the transfer portal. It was a stunning admission from a coach who's built his entire brand on culture and togetherness. The Buffaloes have now officially locked in their second losing season in 3 years under Sanders. And with bowl eligibility mathematically eliminated, the final 2 games feel more like auditions for who wants to be part of whatever comes next. Sanders insists he's not going anywhere. But the passion and belief that defined year 1 in Boulder feel like a distant memory. AD stands firm behind Coach Prime Rick. George isn't flinching, even as the noise around Deion Sanders gets louder by the week. With Colorado sitting at 3-7 after their recent loss, fans have started calling for Sanders' head despite the massive 5-year, $54 million extension the school gave him in the offseason. George shut down any speculation about Sanders' job security with a definitive statement on social media. I support Coach Prime 100%. George acknowledged the pressure and disappointment surrounding the season, telling the College Football Coaches Show, "Everyone feels the pressure of our investment and the desire for immediate results, which we understand. However, there are times when expectations are not met. This period is particularly challenging due to the House settlement, NIL issues, and revenue sharing. When expectations are not exceeded or even met, it leads to a lot of discussion and negativity." But George also made it clear what needs to change. "We just got to win more football games," George said bluntly during his appearance on the show. That's the bottom line for Sanders and the Buffaloes, who are staring down 3 remaining games against Arizona State and Kansas State, with bowl eligibility already out of reach. George also urged Colorado fans to stick with the team during this brutal stretch, rather than abandon ship. It's a tough ask when your team has lost all 6 road games this season.